Go on. Thank you.
Oh, these are off. I saw
Be welcoming Creighton. We'll start with a statement from Coach, and then we'll take questions. We have microphones on either side of the room.
Yeah, I don't. They're really good. I mean, we played them 3 times, and their radio guy Bob asked me before the game what we learned, and the first 2 times, and I struggled to answer because they're the pace at which they play. They just stress you in so many ways and make you uncomfortable, and 6 steals I think in the first 5 minutes, and yeah, I feel bad. I mean, I'll just be honest. I voted for KK Arnold for Defensive Player of the Year instead of Sarah, and I think Sarah must have saw my vote. Because she had 4 steals in the first 5 minutes. But to me, they're 1A and 1B defensively in the league. They're just they what they can do defensively. And talking to Gino before the game, I said, you guys are just so deep and so disruptive. And so yeah, we were never in the game, and they made threes. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's easy to say we didn't have a prep, but I don't know that it would have made a difference. There's a big gap between where they are and where we are, but at this point. But I'm also still proud of our team. I mean, we're playing a lot of young kids. I mean, we have an 8-player rotation, and we play 4 freshmen and 2 sophomores within that. And so, I just talked to him today about trying to grow, and because you're getting stressed in a way that you don't get stressed any other time. So congrats, they're really, really good.
Start with questions. We'll start here.
Ava, congrats on your all-freshman team honors and your season overall. Can you just talk about how you've found yourself growing over the season and what you're most proud of from this season?
Yeah, I think it all starts with my teammates and my coaches. We've worked so hard over this season. As a team, we've grown so much, and we work hard every day in practice. And I think that has been shown in games lately. But, one thing we say is we stay connected during hard times. And when we do stay connected, good things happen out of that.
We'll go here.
Ava, as a freshman, can you just talk a little bit about what that defensive pressure is like, specifically for someone who's handling the ball against UConn?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, their press is very good. They got people flying at you at all different angles, so it's kind of just keeping your head up, finding the open person, just get the ball moving.
Second row here.
Thanks, Ava. Congrats on all your accomplishments and
Thanks.
your team's accomplishments. Watching you out here and you and your team these last couple of days, the confidence you're playing with, the joy that you're bringing on the court, the toughness, the fight that you're showing, it's very inspiring to fans of the sport and to a lot of people watching.
Yeah.
Can you talk about kind of how much joy you have competing in the moment and being out there with your team?
Yeah, one thing I do every game is one thing I think about is just playing hard every single game, and then every single moment playing hard, doing the little things, going after steals, going after rebounds. And I think, doing the little things on defense as a team, or just getting that extra rebound, steal, or extra possession really gets us going on offense, and I think that sets the tone for us.
First row.
Coach, despite the score, your team fought the whole game. One example was Gray. She made the turnover and still sprinted back to block the layup instead of just letting UConn score. Can you just talk about the character of your team and how that helps build?
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, we have really good young people in our program, and I think they're about the right things. And Grace has been an incredible addition to our team. I mean, I just told her in the locker room that I don't know what we were shooting for when we went in the portal, because it's so quick, and you're trying to grab what you can, but I think we hit a bullseye with her. Like, I feel like she, from a culture standpoint, from a work ethic standpoint, and a rebounding standpoint, I said, you changed our rebounding culture. As good a team as we've had the last few years, I had to yell at them a lot to rebound. I never had to yell, well, a couple times, but and that's what you want. But to your point, I felt like that's who we've been all year. I was a little frustrated late third quarter. I felt like we felt sorry for ourselves. I think that's easy to do when you play UConn, is to have stretches where you feel sorry for yourself, and well, that too doesn't matter, or that basket doesn't matter because it's a whatever. But big picture, I feel like this team has been really fun to coach. It's state tournament time in high schools, right? The Nebraska state tournament ended yesterday, and these guys were playing in high school state tournaments, 52 weeks ago, and today they're guarding Sarah Strong and AZ Fudd. And KK Arnold, and that's a big leap. And to your observation, I feel like we didn't meet the moment in some ways, but in terms of just the competitiveness part, I felt like we didn't back down, and that's what you want. And that's the optimism that will carry hopefully into the postseason, but into next year.
We'll go to Doug here.
Hey, Coach, good to see you.
You too, Doug.
You mentioned before just the depth of UConn. I mean, is that sort of the difference this year? You've coached them for a couple of years now. Like, this year they have something they didn't have in depth. I mean, obviously they lost Paige, who's a really good player, but
Yeah.
they have more bodies they can throw at you in different ways. Does that separates them this year from maybe the other teams they had?
Yeah, but I don't want to disagree with Gino, because he told me in the pregame that people say we're better without Paige. What the hell? But in watching them, early all the way through the year, I kept thinking, God, they're better than last. They won the national championship last year, and I feel like they're better this year. And it's whether they're offensively, they were really good today, but I just feel like they're even more disruptive defensively because of the depth and experience, and just their, yeah. I mean, I think Heckle's a great addition that way. Quinones is, she's really good defensively too. So they got so many good defensive pieces, and they just play, they play hard. So I don't want to disagree with Gino, but I feel like they're maybe better.
Right here.
Jim, a lot is made about their defense, and
Yeah.
rightfully so, because they're so good. But can you just talk about their offense and how effortless
Yeah.
it looks like? I mean, it really isn't easy to do what they're doing, but they make it look easy, don't they?
Yeah, and they shot it really well today, but they start, and that's the tough thing, is when they get they have strong-minded players, but when you get easy baskets off turnovers and layups, it does make the basket look bigger when you take a shot in the half court. You ask Steph Curry that. If he can get 2 layups before his first 3, he probably even thinks he's even better, and I think that's a little bit of what happened. But yeah, they run their stuff really hard, really well, and we talked in the pregame. I said the game has changed to such a dribble-heavy game, right? I mean, if you go watch a club basketball game, it's dribble drive, it's everybody's working on finishes, but they don't shoot that many free throws. They're not just trying to spread you out and dribble it down your throat. They're a great passing team. They're a great catch and shoot team. They can score in the post. And then they've got some kids who can score in the mid-range. You know, AZ and Ashlyn are a little more that way. But, yeah, they're super efficient. And they run their, you know, we said some of the stuff they run is probably 7 of the other 10 teams in the league are running. They're just not running it, with as good of players, but they're not running it at the same pace. It's such a pace thing and efficiency. And, you know, we said, hey, we've seen this before. They are requiring you to be in the right spot with your knees bent, ready to react out of a screen, et cetera. And we just aren't there. We weren't there. But it's the pace at which they play. You saw it last year, and you see it again this year.
We're going to take 3 more starting here in the second row.
Coach, we spoke preseason about, you know, your roster turnover this year and the amount of freshmen you brought in. Can you just kind of assess how you think the year went? Obviously, you might have some postseason ahead of you. How the year went and how it set the foundation for the future?
Yeah, I mean, we had 5 seniors who'd been with us 4 of them had been with us for 5 years, and then Lauren Jensen came after her freshman year. So we knew we were going to have to kind of flip our roster, and we had kind of under-recruited just because we felt like it was hard to convince kids to come and sit for a year or 2. That's a way harder ask today. So we knew that this class needed to be big from a number standpoint and quality, and I think we hit on it. I mean, you know, you watch Ava, Neely, Nora, Kendall, the 4 who play quite a bit for us, and there were times when I wanted to look at the bench and have somebody who was older, maybe because again they were 9 months out of high school, 8 months out of high school basketball in November, so their habits you're still forming at this level. So the competitor in you wants to maybe look at the bench and bring in a junior or senior. But on the other hand, I think it was great for them to have to get to play through mistakes on a little bit greater level. You know, I said I still had to take them out, but I didn't have a choice whether to put them back in or to keep them out for a longer period of time. And I think the neat thing will be is that these guys will connect. I saw it with our last group. You know, when you connect and you love, and Ava's spoken really, really well about that, I think. When you connect with your teammates and you love your teammates, like you build together. And that's what my vision is for these guys, is to have that same commitment to each other. Because they all love the game, you know. So have that same commitment to each other that last group had, and I really believe that we'll have that. So, yeah.
Middle, second row here. Yep.
Coach, you've obviously dealt with your fair share of elite UConn players, but what makes Sarah Strong so difficult or perhaps even impossible to truly prepare for?
Yeah, it was, I think last year when we played here, one of our assistants was talking to one of their assistants, and there was a comment about she might be, this was from Connecticut, that she might be the best player we've ever had, and we will have ever had. And I'm like, whoa, you know, I mean, I'd only seen her on film, and it just blew me away. But then the more you play against her, the more film you see of her. Like there's just, you know, and some of the stuff she does is effortless. Like it looks like she's 4 or 5 feet off of you. Like she's not up into you like KK is, but her steals numbers are just ridiculous because she's just this way, and then she shoots the 3 so effortlessly, and can get downhill, great hands, and they pass the ball really well. But yeah, she's, you know, her numbers would be way better if they weren't winning the games the way they were. You know, you look at her, I don't know what her minutes are, but you know, her efficiency is through the roof, and she's really good. And I just like the way she competes. And Yeah.
Last question here in the middle.
Ava, like Coach said last year, you were playing high school ball, and now to be here in the Big East tournament at Mohegan Sun, playing against the #1 team in the country, and I don't know how much you followed UConn in high school, but just what's that experience like for you?
Yeah, it's a really cool experience to play UConn. They're a very good team, very physical, but they're also very experienced. As Flynn mentioned, they're really good at running their plays. They run them at a very fast pace compared to some other teams, but no, they can really pressure you on the offense and defensive side of the ball. So yeah, they for sure make it tough to score.
Thank you both very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
UConn is on their way.
Oh, it'd be really interesting here. Great to watch.
That was the best one. Now, just let me know what you need for section. When you're just on the court, you never know which way this is going. Well, when I text you, I was like, I'm just gonna ask them, but I already know the answer.
I was like, I don't know how to respond to this.
You don't. That was like a, but you could have looked at them and said, none of these are good, give me something else. But I know your answer and these guys can't, so. Kind of like you did to me this morning. I want this one and then dealer's choice. And I still gave you more than I normally would because
But they send the players, they take the players down.
I was trying to avoid having to put a battery in my generator. trying to push that to the day where I have more time to do stuff. And the power is going out today anyway. Tomorrow's the next week today. Take the dogs to the chiropractor. Take the dogs to the dental report. Taking my car wash now.
All right, we welcome in UConn. We'll start with a statement from Coach, and then we'll take questions for the players.
I'm looking at you. What about you?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's pretty evident, you know, the way the game started with the defensive pressure that KK was able to put on Ava, their point guard. I thought was really a big part of why we got off to such a quick start defensively, and everyone else just kind of, you know, filled in, and we did a phenomenal job of taking all their best actions that they wanted to use away from them. And you know, whenever we're playing like that, it's just a matter of, you know, when is our offense going to get in gear, and you know, we were right on point offensively, you know, the whole game.
KK, obviously Coach mentions your defense. You know, you also had a season high 18 points today. We talk about your defense all the time, but where do you feel like your offense has grown this year?
I feel like just confidence in having trust in myself and taking shots, being aggressive, which will create for my teammates as well, and just also the trust and the confidence that my teammates have in me that helps me a lot each and every possession, and whether that's me being confident, open shots, or attacking. So it starts from there as well.
Coach, yesterday you talked about, right here, oh, sorry. KK, what's the biggest difference you feel you've brought to the off-season offensively?
Like what I worked on?
Yes.
Being consistent. Whether that's from the shot or just being able to attack the basket and convert on that. But I feel like the biggest thing is just for me having that intensity, having that leadership coming in, working on my defense, making sure that I'm being aggressive without fouling, and being that energy person for our team.
Jonathan Tannenwald from the Philadelphia Inquirer. Ozzy, this one's for you. How... AZ, sorry. I'm sorry. Obviously, there have been plenty of, you've been part of a lot of really great UConn seasons. How different does this one feel, or similar? You know, does it one feel to the last two, having this specific cast?
Yeah, I'd say this one feels a little different in a sense. I feel like the people on this team, well, one, all these healthy bodies, that's new. But then also just having so many people being able to come in and contribute. Like looking at this stat sheet today, seeing that everyone came in, scored, got a rebound, got a steal. They did something, things that aren't on this stat sheet, like making great passes, great reads, setting great screens. So being on a team this deep has been a lot of fun. It's been amazing. But then also, I would say, just to touch on what KK's been talking about confidence-wise, I feel like this team, coming off last year, I feel like that the confidence that's carried with people and stayed with people, I think the confidence has just continued to grow with us individually, but as a team. So I feel like we're in a great place, but it's also just been, it's been great to be on a team like this with depth, with confidence, and just with people who know how to play basketball.
KK, AZ alluded to it, but you know, you've played on teams that were kind of shorthanded, had injuries, you only had a few people, you had to worry about foul trouble, you had to worry about maybe nobody on the bench to come in. How much different is the defense knowing that you can just kind of play full out because you don't have to necessarily worry about those things? Is there a certain freedom to the way you guys are playing defense that you haven't been able to do in the past?
Yeah, I mean, like AZ said, we have so much depth and healthy bodies this year that we can be aggressive, but just also be smart as well. But just knowing that whoever comes in, they're picking up where we left off in a way, being aggressive and making sure we have that same amount of ball pressure and energy like we started out the game with.
Congratulations, ladies. This is to anybody who would like to answer. You guys have been so confident and driven all season long. What would you say to the next generation of ballers?
I would say, come on.
Okay. Well, I would say just be yourself. I feel like that's where it starts. All of confidence. That's all where it starts, and just having teammates surrounding you, whether that's people, family members surrounding you, that's gonna kind of feed into you. I feel like that's the biggest thing that we have is a big sisterhood that keeps us motivated, keeps us driven, keeps us going. So, good one, KK. Oh, that was it. My fault. Okay.
AZ, so much is made of this team's defense, and rightfully so, because you guys are so good at it. But can you just talk about how much fun it is to play offense on a team like this, where there's such an unselfishness and such great passing and just the whole overall scheme that you guys run?
Yeah, I mean, the coaches really harp on us playing smart basketball and not having, set offenses where we're just running each play, we're not making reads. So I feel like playing on a team with people who can make great decisions, make great plays, people who are phenomenal passers, cutters, screeners, and like you said, unselfish, it makes playing basketball so much fun because, anyone can be open at any moment and anyone can make that shot. So this team playing offense, doesn't matter what play we run, we know you're going to get a great screen, a great pass, and yeah.
Also for AZ, you've seen KK grow from a freshman now to a junior. She talks about her offensive confidence. Where have you seen her growth offensively? And if it isn't her confidence, how do you see that?
Yeah, I for sure see in her confidence. We all had that confidence in her before, but to see her on the floor, being that floor general, leading us, taking shots, whether it's a three, a pull-up, seeing how she's getting to the rim, getting in the paint, making plays for everyone. I feel like the presence it's a lot more demanding this year. Like she steps on the floor and you feel that I'm so sorry. You feel that presence offensively and defensively. But this year you saw it today. She came in, it was layups, it was pull-ups, it was threes. How many assists did you have? 4 assists, exactly. So she's on the floor, she's doing everything, and it's exactly what she's capable of and what she needs to do every night.
Thank you, guys.
Take questions for Coach.
Sarah broke your program record for steals by a sophomore today with the 6. She's the only forward in the top 10 in a single season that you guys have. I guess just what allows her to be such a disruptor with the size and skill set that she has.
Yeah, it's a unique combination that doesn't come along very often. Obviously, I remember Nikisha being, a big guard who just had great anticipation skills and great hands and feel. And Sarah has that on the ball, off the ball. I think she has a really good idea of where the ball's going, and she has tremendous confidence in herself. And it's not something that anyone's, can't take credit at UConn. Hey, we taught her how to do all this stuff. We put her in a position to do some of these things, but she's just, it's a lot of God-given, how does somebody know how to hit a 100-mile-an-hour fastball? They just can, and she does things because she can, and she's just really, 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 really smart, really intuitive, and big enough that you can't bully her, and quick enough that you can't out-quick her. So it's a rare combination, for sure.
Coach, yesterday you talked about coincidence and trends in player production. After tonight, KK has now had 3 straight games of 9+ points. Can you just talk about her offensive production, and is this becoming a trend in your eyes?
Well, you know, I'm always curious about where do the points come from, how, when. Some people are great at scoring a lot of points when you don't necessarily need a lot of points because, you're already up a bunch, and some are really good at getting them exactly when you need them. And I like when KK feels confident that she can just shoot a wide open 3 with a lot of confidence and knowing that it's the shot I'm supposed to take and at a time when I'm supposed to take it. So, yesterday she made 2, today she made 2. I think the third one should have gone in. And so that's a game changer for us, knowing that we have the ability to do that, and that teams now have to play us much differently than they were maybe earlier in the season when they weren't sure whether she could make that shot. So, all I can do is, put kids in a position where they can do their thing, and then hopefully they get some success, and then they feel confident enough to keep doing it. We have no control over that sometimes, but she seems to be in a really, really good place. I don't think 2 years ago she would have been able to finish some of the shots she finished today around the basket. So she's made a good progression from freshman year to junior year, and that's what you hope for all your players.
Gino, over here. Sarah Strong kind of hits every stat that you could have. When you first recruited her, was there one facet of her game that stood out, or was it just the fact that she did everything?
Yeah, it was hard not to see the impact that she had on a stat sheet. But the thing that I was most taken by was how many things she saw on the basketball court that only some exceptional players would have the ability to see. There's an old basketball adage that Coach Bobby Knight used to talk about all the time when I was young. He said, you can teach players to look, but you can't teach them to see. And we got a lot of players in college basketball, you tell them to look for this, and they don't even know what you're talking about. And she sees things before they happen, and she knows things before they present themselves. And when you have someone like that, that's a God-given gift that automatically makes everybody on your team a better basketball player. And if you saw how many games they won with the team that she had, you would understand what I'm talking about. So her physical things, being able to, pass it and shoot it and dribble it and rebound the ball and steal it and all the other stuff. But I saw right away that she sees things that other people don't see. It's just I've had a couple of those, so when I first saw it, I knew exactly what I was looking at. I learned how to see when I was.
Hey, Gino. I'll ask you the similar question that I asked Daisy. Even if perception-wise, in the past, Paige took up a lot of the spotlight, whatever the team-wide contribution was basketball-wise, as a lot more people now in March start watching your team and the rest of women's college basketball, how different is this team from the last few?
It's different in that we have more ways that we can play. We have more bodies that can contribute. And I think they maybe alluded to it also. defensively, we're able to be more disruptive than we have been in maybe the last 10 years, given what we've been through. So it's a much different team than it was last year. I'm not of the opinion that we're better. We're different. So there is no, are we the same, are we better, are we worse? We're different, and we play a different style of play than we played last year. The results seem to be kind of sort of the same as they were last year. Just a different way about going about it. And when we're on our game, we're as effective as we were last year at this time, for sure.
We're going to stay in the front row for the last four.
You've alluded to 10 years ago. Which of your teams, what's the best group defensively that you've had, and how close is this group to that?
Well, times have changed significantly. We've been lucky, at UConn, just we've had some great defensive teams that had a lot of pieces to it. The interesting thing about the game was played differently. Let's say, Kara, Rebecca, and Jamel's championship team, the game was played more inside the three-point line, a little bit outside the three-point, and we were so big and so dominant and so smart, it was hard to get quality shots against us. As the game started to change, that how you play defense changed, and you needed different kinds of bodies. That Sue D. Swin team, we had a guard that could guard their centers, and our centers could guard their guards. So but we didn't have quite the depth. I would say the team that had it all was probably the Stewie, Stephanie Dolson. When we ran out that lineup of Stewie, Stephanie Dolson, Kia Stokes on the front line, it was hard for anybody to see the basket, much less get a basket. And I would say that team, with Bria Hartley, Kelly Farris, that may have been the hardest team to score on of any team that I've coached. But if Renee and Tina were here, they would tell you that the Renee, Tina, Maya, Kalena Green, and Tiffany Hayes in that group. So we've been lucky that we've been able to put defensive teams out there that are what the time called for. Like that Rebecca team would be too slow in some ways to play at this level of basketball being played right now. And this team that we have right now, because we're so versatile, but for everything you get, you give up something, This team creates a lot of turnovers. And the trick is going to be, as we get in the tournament, what happens if we aren't able to create a lot of those turnovers. And that's why we spend so much time working on our half-court offense and our offense in general. And that's why today I was kind of pleased to see us, offensively be what we were. Because when the NCAA tournament comes around, all those teams that you just steal it from and run in there and shoot layups, they're watching on TV. They're not playing against you. So you're going to have to be a little more well-rounded. And I think we're getting there little by little.
Three more, starting with Doug.
Hey, Coach, good to see you.
What's up, Doug?
I know you love talking about streaks, so I'll ask you about not you guys, but I'm wonder if you're aware of what NYU's been doing lately with winning their 8th and 9th straight the other night, and just put in perspective.
I have. If I'm not mistaken, I think a kid that played on Sarah Strong's team is at NYU. I think
that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been through this, so, I mean, just what they've run in the last couple of years and what they're doing right now, getting 8 and 9 in a row. And
yeah, how many are they at now?
They're at 8 and 9. They won 8 and 9.
89.
Yeah.
Damn. Did they say they tied our record or UCLA's record? Or who?
UCLA.
UCLA. God damn. You know, when you do something that's so consistently good, I think the danger that you see is, well, if you can do it every day, then it must be easy. And I would always say, well, how many things do you do every day that are exactly as good as it was the day before? Probably none. I mean, so doing something exceptionally well and doing it every day that you have to do it is way, way, way more difficult than people think. You know, well, it's Division III. I don't care if it's Division 12. You know, and what they, you know, people say with the conference they play in, that none of these things are relevant, because you have to go out there and you have to, first, you have to execute to the best of your ability. And second, with each game that you win, people are throwing that number at you all the time. And you have to kind of keep your mind on what got you there. You know, what got us here is just we go every day, we practice really hard. So I met I met some of the kids in the program and the coaches, and I have a lot of respect for them. I knew it was a lot. I didn't know they had gotten to 89, but I hope they get to 112. I think that would be unbelievable. You know, I might want to be at that game.
Gino, a lot is made of your defense, but Jim Flannery was saying how in today's world there's a lot of one-on-one basketball, people attacking the rim, and you guys still do it the way you have been for a long time with great passing, unselfishness. Can you just talk about how good your offense is this year and how good it could be, I mean, with the personnel you have and the style you play?
Yeah, well, I complain all the time that we don't play one-on-one basketball enough. You know, I complain that we don't attack the basket enough, or you know, you saw Sarah today be more aggressive, you know, putting the ball on the floor and playing, because in the end, basketball is a game of one-on-one. You know, it's I catch it, you're guarding me, and now I got to make a decision. Do I shoot it? Do I drive it? Do I pass it? And I think teams that just pass end up, you know, having problems, and teams that can't pass have problems. So I've always thought that in order to get a good one-on-one situation, you have to be a great passing team. And so we spend, from the time I first got the job here at Connecticut, an inordinate amount of time passing and catching the ball, and, you know, moving without the ball. And I take great pride in how our teams have been consistently one of the leading assist teams in the country year after year after year after year. You know, it's a tremendous sense of pride in our team that, you know, Sarah can get 23 points on 11 shots, or Hazy gets 16 on 10 shots. You know, around the country, you got guys taking 23 shots to get 11 points, and everybody goes gaga, you know, because you know, the shots they make. And it's, you know, I just think it's the way basketball should be played, and I'm fortunate that I can get the players to come here that want to play like that. You know, I told Flan, I said, I hope, regardless of what happens today, I said to him, I said, I hope you guys keep playing. And he said, we are, because I enjoy watching the way they play, the way they move without the ball. They just don't have the talent, obviously, that we do. They don't have the shot makers or the playmakers that we do. And they got a couple young kids that are really, really good. But when you see teams like that, and Villanova's be the same way tonight, Seton Hall's kind of similar. The teams in our league, they all play a very similar style, because you also don't have the opportunity to coach guys that can just put the ball on the floor and go get whatever shot they want, you know? Our league is a league that doesn't have as much talent as some other leagues in the country, but it has a style of play that I think when you play against it every day, you get to appreciate and you get to prepare for whatever style's coming up when you get to the NCAA tournament. Teams that pass are fun to watch. Teams that pass are fun to watch. I think that's one of the reasons why we're so popular as a program. I think we just really value. You know, we had 100 points today and we had 8 turnovers. We've had games this year where we had 100 turnovers and 8 points. It seemed like. That's what it felt like, anyway.
Last question here,
Back-to-back games where you had all 3 of these guys in double digits. Just what stands out to you about the way that they've kind of developed as a unit this year and kind of built that chemistry over the course of the season?
Yeah. It's hard to say what you think is going to happen. I always hope we have at least 3 players that at the end of the game have had, you know, really, really productive offensive games. And I, like AZ said, you know, when I see that we have 3 players in double figures and then we have a couple with 9, you know, I think that's what teams should do. You know, they should grow as a team, and they should be able to trust each other. And a coach shouldn't have to always, you know, let's call a play to get this shot. I mean, there's a time and place for that. Don't get me wrong, but as units start to become one instead of a group of 5 individuals, they become one. They have a sixth sense of what's coming next. You know, where's our next basket coming from? And those are the teams that are hard to play against. Teams where they're constantly looking over to the sideline for, coach, help me out here. What should I run? I think those teams, and we become that team sometimes, are not as hard to play against as the team you saw play today.
Thank you, Coach. See you tomorrow.
All righty. Thank you.
Semi, if you're waiting, we're